In the U.S. Democratic presidential race, another round of primaries on Tuesday looms as a crucial test in what has become a two-man nomination race between former Vice President Joe Biden and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. 6 states are holding nominating contests Tuesday. VOA's Jim Malone explains what's at stake.
Former Vice President Joe Biden campaigning in Mississippi, looking to expand his lead in the Democratic race on Tuesday.
I really believe we're creating a movement powered by the backbone and base of the Democratic Party. A movement that's going to defeat Donald Trump and restore the soul of this nation.
Biden has picked up the endorsement of 2 former rivals, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker and California Senator Kamala Harris.
I believe in Joe.
Thank God for Bernie Sanders.
Biden's main remaining rival, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, touted the endorsement of civil rights leader Jesse Jackson as he campaigned in Michigan.
So brothers and sisters, let us go forward. Let's win on Tuesday. Let's win the Democratic nomination. Let's defeat Trump. Let's transform this country. Thank you all very much.
Sanders also continues to complain that the Democratic establishment has united to stop him.
The question, which is what the media is preoccupied with, how can we stop Bernie Sanders? We got to stop the coronavirus and we got to stop Bernie Sanders. What a terrible thing.
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing.
Biden's dramatic turnaround in the Democratic race last week in the Super Tuesday primaries also caught the attention of President Donald Trump.
I was all set for Bernie. I was ready to go. And then I say, I don't think I'm running against Bernie. I think it's going to be very hard for him to come back.
Biden won 10 of the 14 contests last week on Super Tuesday and totally reframed the Democratic race, says Larry Sabato.
I like to say that Biden was given the last rites, and now he's Lazarus because he has arisen from the dead. He has managed to surprise everybody and win a ton of primaries by landslide proportions in most cases.
Biden's success drove 2 other rivals from the race, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Which candidate can defeat Donald Trump?
Sanders' best chance to regain momentum may come Tuesday in the Michigan primary, says Jim Kessler.
If Bernie doesn't score a big victory in Michigan, you're really starting to see the end of the possibility of his candidacy, and then I think there'll be some unifying then.
In addition to Michigan, Idaho, Mississippi, Missouri, and Washington State hold primaries on Tuesday, and North Dakota will hold a Democratic caucus. Jim Malone, VOA News, Washington.
Now for the latest on the Democratic presidential race, Associated Press global media reporter Philip Crowther joins me live from Detroit. Hello, Philip. If Joe Biden wins Michigan, where does that leave Bernie Sanders?
Well, the Vermont senator is really up against it, not just in the presidential race generally, the race for the nomination, but also here specifically in Michigan, because what we've seen from former Vice President Joe Biden is a real look toward a big win here in Michigan, the biggest prize of this series of primaries that are taking place across the United States this Tuesday. What Biden wants is a big turnaround, because what you have to look at here is the recent history of primaries and of the presidential election here in the state of Michigan. Remember that in the year 2016, Bernie Sanders came away from this state with a big surprise victory against frontrunner Hillary Clinton at the time. She then went on to lose to now President Donald Trump in the election in the year 2016. So what Biden wants to do here is not just turn this around against Sanders, but eventually, of course, turn this around against Donald Trump. And what he has on his side, the vice president, that is that key ingredient in the race for the nomination of a political party in the United States. That's momentum. He won in South Carolina, of course, the Saturday before last, then went on to win big on Super Tuesday. That momentum he brings with him into this day of primaries across the country.
So, Philip, Bernie Sanders is already complaining that the Democratic establishment already is united to stop him. But what does he need to do to clinch this nomination?
Well, he'll have to surprise us all here in Michigan, first of all, and then surprise pretty much everybody in a lot of states that are still to vote. It's not necessarily make or break time for the Vermont senator, but it almost is, and certainly here in Michigan. So what we've seen from Bernie Sanders over the last few days has been he has really concentrated on this one state because he got that surprise victory here 4 years ago, and he really needs it again. He's been campaigning alongside African-American voters. That is one demographic that he really needs on his side. That's why we're here at a community college in Detroit with largely an African-American electorate. They largely do tend to vote for Joe Biden, which, remember, got him his victories in the likes of South Carolina and then on Super Tuesday also in a string of southern states. What Bernie Sanders has been doing, he's been attacking Joe Biden for his role as what he calls an establishment candidate. He has also been attacking him for his history on trade votes. Those are ways that he thinks he can get inroads and again come away with a surprise victory here in Michigan and maybe in one or two other states that are voting today.
Well, we'll be watching, Philip. Thank you so much. Associated Press global media reporter Philip Crowther talking to us from Detroit.